Buckle up, because you're about to hear a story that will make your blood boil. A story about lies, betrayal, and the kind of justice that feels almost too good to be true. This isn't just another "my wife cheated and I found out" story. No, no. This is how I turned the tables on my cheating wife and let her dig her own grave, one lie at a time. For those who think you should have just confronted her right away, that's not how you deal with a liar. You let them think they're winning. You let them get comfortable. And when the moment is right, you pull the rug out from under them so hard, they don't even see it coming. This is exactly how I did it. Jessica and I had been together for 7 years, married for 5. She was the kind of woman who thrived on attention and validation. I always knew that about her, but I figured as long as she was happy with me, it didn't matter. We had a good life, at least, I thought we did. We both worked decent jobs, lived in a beautiful house, and had the kind of marriage that people looked at and said, "Wow, you guys are perfect together." Yeah, perfect. What a joke. It started with small things. Jessica had always enjoyed hanging out with her friends, but suddenly, she started going out a lot more. At first, it was just 1 night a week, then 2, then 3. By the time I really started paying attention, she was going out every other night and sometimes not coming home until 2 or 3 a.m. When I asked, she'd always have the same response. "It was just a girl's night, babe. We lost track of time." Sure, fine. That's believable once or twice. But every single time? And then there were the outfits. Jessica always dressed well, but this was different. She started wearing clothes I'd never seen before. Tight dresses, high heels, and perfume that she never wore around me. I made a joke one night. "Dang, babe, you're dressing up like you're going on a date." She laughed too hard. You know when someone overcompensates because they're hiding something? Yeah, that kind of laugh. But the real red flag? Her phone. Before, Jessica would leave her phone anywhere. On the kitchen counter, on the nightstand, in the bathroom while she showered. She never cared. Suddenly, that phone was glued to her hand. And not just that. She started tilting the screen away from me anytime a notification popped up. One night, I casually reached for it while she was in the shower. Something I had never done before in our relationship. The screen was wiped clean. No messages. No call history. No social media notifications. It was like she had reset her entire existence before stepping into the bathroom. And that's when I knew. Jessica was hiding something. One Friday night, she told me she was going out for drinks with her friends. The usual excuse. I nodded, played it cool. "Have fun, babe." But this time, instead of staying home, I decided to check something. I knew Jessica's best friend, Ashley. They had been close for years. And while Ashley and I weren't exactly besties, she had always been nice to me. So, I did something I probably wasn't supposed to do. I texted her. "Hey Ashley, hope you're having fun. What bar did you guys end up at?" Her response? "Huh? I'm at home. Why?" I stared at my screen, my stomach dropping. Jessica wasn't with Ashley. She wasn't with her friends. So where the hell was she? I texted back. "Oh, Jessica said she was meeting you guys. Maybe I misheard." Ashley didn't respond after that. Maybe she put 2 and 2 together. I didn't care. I had my answer. Jessica was lying to my face. And if she was lying about where she was lying about who she was with. But instead of calling her out, I played it smart. I decided to let her keep lying. Because if you want to catch a rat, you don't chase it. You set the trap and let it walk right in. Over the next week, I kept acting normal. I kissed Jessica goodbye when she went to girls' night. I told her she looked beautiful in her new dresses. I let her think she had me wrapped around her finger. And then, I set the perfect bait. One night over dinner, I casually said, "Hey, why don't you invite your friends over for a wine and painting night?" Jessica's eyes lit up immediately. She took the bait. "Oh my God, babe, that's such a cute idea," she gushed. "That would be so fun." I smiled, acting like the most supportive husband in the world. "I'll even book a professional artist to come in and guide the painting," I added. She didn't even hesitate. "Oh my God, yes," she said, already texting someone. And that's when I knew. She wasn't just texting her friends. She was texting him. Because here's the thing. Jessica never invited her actual friends to our house. She wanted privacy for her lies. So I knew exactly what would happen. She'd invite them over. They'd drink, laugh, have fun. And then, when they left, he would show up. And I would be waiting. You already know that my wife, Jessica, was lying to me. She had been sneaking around, making excuses, and playing me for a fool. What she didn't know, I was setting a trap. A trap so perfect that she wouldn't see it coming until it was too late. This was going to be the night she exposed herself, and all I had to do was sit back and let her do it. From the moment I suggested the wine and painting night, Jessica was ecstatic. "Oh my God, babe, this is going to be so much fun," she gushed, texting away. "The girls are going to love this." The girls. Yeah, right. I knew she wasn't just inviting her friends. She was inviting him. And the best part? She thought I was completely clueless. For the next few days, she kept talking about the party like it was the event of the century. She bought expensive wine, new decorations, and even a brand new dress, one she conveniently forgot to show me. I played along, smiling, nodding, being the supportive, unsuspecting husband. "You're seriously the best," she said, wrapping her arms around me one night. "I love that you trust me." Oh, I trusted her, all right. I trusted her to destroy herself. While Jessica was busy planning her lies, I was preparing the evidence. I installed cameras in the house. Tiny, hidden cameras, the kind you'd never notice unless you were looking for them. One in the living room, disguised as a decorative shelf piece. One in the hallway, blending into the corner near the ceiling. And the most important one? In our bedroom, tucked away in a spot she'd never check. Because I knew exactly what she was going to do. And this time, there would be no denying it. Now, here's where things get interesting. Jessica wasn't dumb. She wasn't going to invite another man into our house unless she was absolutely sure I wouldn't be home. And that's where I gave her the perfect opportunity. 2 days before the party, I casually mentioned, "Hey, babe, I might be staying over at Ryan's place Friday night." Ryan was my best friend from college. We used to have long poker nights at his place, and sometimes I'd even crash there if we had a few drinks. Jessica jumped at the chance. "Oh, that's awesome," she said, a little too quickly. "You haven't had a guy's night in forever. You totally should." She was thrilled, because in her mind, I was going to be gone the entire night. She probably thought she'd have all the time in the world to do whatever she wanted, with zero risk of getting caught. And that was exactly what I wanted her to believe. The night arrived. Jessica was glowing. She wore that new dress, had her hair done perfectly, and walked around the house buzzing with excitement. For what? To cheat in her own home. I had to force myself to act normal, to smile when she kissed me goodbye. "Have fun with the guys," she said, waving as I grabbed my car keys. "Oh, I will," I said. She had no idea that I wasn't actually leaving. I parked a few streets away, far enough that she wouldn't suspect anything, but close enough to get back fast if I needed to. Then, I pulled out my laptop and connected to the live security feed. Boom. There she was. Jessica and her friends were laughing, drinking wine, painting on their little canvases like everything was perfect. I watched them for a while. They were having a great time, completely unaware that they were being recorded. For a second, I almost felt guilty. Almost. But then I remembered what she was about to do. And that guilt? Gone. Around 10:30 p.m., Jessica's friends started leaving. One by one, they grabbed their bags, hugged her goodbye, and walked out the door. And then, Jessica pulled out her phone. I watched her text someone. I watched her fix her hair in the hallway mirror. And I watched her adjust her dress, lowering the straps just slightly, before heading back to the living room. That was it. That was the moment I knew. And right on cue, the doorbell rang. A man walked in, tall, dark hair, wearing a too-tight button-down that screamed, "I think I'm God's gift to women." Jessica lit up like a damn Christmas tree. She ran up to him, throwing her arms around his neck like they hadn't seen each other in years. And the way she looked at him? She never looked at me like that. They sat on the couch together, laughing, drinking more wine, getting way too close. My hands clenched into fists as I watched it all unfold on my screen. She was so comfortable, so relaxed, like this was just another night for her. And the worst part? She had no idea I was watching. At 11 p.m., I watched as Jessica grabbed her guest's hand and led him toward the bedroom. Our bedroom. That was it. That was the final confirmation. She had zero hesitation, zero remorse, zero second thoughts. Jessica wasn't just cheating. She was comfortable doing it. And that was unforgivable. I closed my laptop, took a deep breath, and grabbed the manila envelope sitting in my passenger seat. It was time. I stepped out of my car, calm and collected, and started walking back toward the house. Jessica thought she had the perfect night planned, but she had no idea. Because tonight was her grand finale. As I walked up the driveway, I felt calm. No anger, no sadness, just focus. The manila envelope in my hand felt heavier than it actually was. Maybe because of what it represented. Maybe because I knew that the moment I stepped inside, Jessica's world was about to collapse. I reached the front door, took a deep breath, and turned the handle. Unlocked. Of course it was. Jessica was so sure I wouldn't be back. I pushed the door open, slowly and silently, stepping into my own house, my own home, that had been turned into something disgusting. And there she was. Jessica was sitting on the couch, laughing at something he said. Him. Some idiot in a button-down, looking way too comfortable in my living room, holding a glass of my wine like he owned the place. Jessica was curled up next to him, touching his arm, eyes locked on him like he was the most interesting person in the world. She didn't even hear me at first, not until the door clicked shut behind me. And when she did, her entire body froze. For a split second, she didn't move, like her brain couldn't process what was happening. Then, as if someone had flipped a switch, she jerked away from him, sitting up straight, her face going completely pale. James, she stammered. Her lover? He looked like he'd just seen a ghost. I took 2 slow steps forward, my hands in my pockets, keeping my voice steady. Jessica, I said, calm, controlled, like I was greeting her at breakfast. Her mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. She looked like a fish gasping for air. And then, from the kitchen, voices. Her friends were still here. The second they heard my voice, Jessica's friends poked their heads around the corner. 3 of them. The same women she had claimed to be hanging out with every night while she was actually sneaking around. They were holding half-full glasses of wine, looking confused at first, and then slowly realizing that something was very, very wrong. James? One of them, Ashley, said cautiously. I turned to her, giving her a small, polite smile. Hey, Ashley. Funny running into you here. Jessica flinched. Ashley frowned. Jessica said you were at Ryan's? I saw Jessica's hands clench into fists on her lap. Yeah, I said, still smiling. That's what she told me too. I let the words sink in. And that's when I saw it, the shift. The way Ashley's face changed, her expression morphing from confusion to realization. Her eyes flicked from me, to Jessica, to the man on the couch. Oh my God, she whispered. The other 2 women caught on immediately. Jessica? One of them said in a choked voice. Jessica snapped out of her frozen state at that moment, scrambling to her feet, panic in her eyes. Wait, this isn't what it looks like, she burst out. I let out a short laugh. You don't even know what I saw yet, Jessica, I said, tilting my head. But go on. I'd love to hear what this is. Her mouth opened, but she didn't have an answer. Because she knew. She knew there was no way out of this. And I hadn't even played my trump card yet. I let a few seconds pass, watching Jessica squirm. Then, I sighed and reached into my jacket, pulling out my laptop. Her eyes widened instantly. She knew. Oh, she knew. I walked over to the TV, calm as ever, connected my laptop, and pressed play. And just like that, the living room turned into a crime scene. Because there, on the massive screen, was her, Jessica, sitting exactly where she had been just minutes ago. Next to him, laughing, touching his arm, whispering things in his ear. The way her body language changed. The way she leaned into him like she had no care in the world. Then, the camera angle changed, to the bedroom. Jessica let out a choked gasp. Her lover? He shot up from the couch. Yo, what the hell is this? He barked, panic in his voice. Jessica whipped around to him, eyes wild. Sit down, I said coldly. And to my satisfaction, he did. Because what else was he going to do? The room was dead quiet as the footage played. Jessica buried her face in her hands, shaking her head, muttering nonsense to herself. Her friends? They looked disgusted. One of them, Megan, actually put her wine glass down on the table like she had lost her appetite. Ashley? She was just staring at Jessica, her face a mixture of shock and fury. The man on the couch finally found his voice. Bro, this is messed up. You spying on your wife? That's insane. I turned to him, finally letting some of the rage I had bottled up for weeks creep into my voice. Yeah, I said, voice low. You know what's really insane? Inviting another man into your house because you thought your husband was too stupid to figure it out. He shut up real fast. Jessica let out a soft sob. I wasn't done yet. I turned back to the TV, letting the last few seconds of footage play out. Jessica, walking toward the bedroom, grabbing his hand, pulling him inside. And then, I pressed pause. The screen froze on the exact moment her betrayal was sealed. I turned back to her, tilting my head. You were saying, Jessica? She broke. Right there. In front of everyone. And honestly, I enjoyed every second of it. The moment I paused the footage, leaving the screen frozen on the exact second, she pulled her lover into our bedroom. Jessica completely lost it. She staggered back, hands clutching at her hair like she was trying to rip herself out of the situation. Her face, just moments ago smiling and glowing as she cozied up to her affair partner, was now twisted in horror. Her eyes darted from me to her friends to the guy sitting on the couch. For a second, I saw true fear. And then, the denial started. James, listen to me, she gasped, her voice shaking. It's not what it looks like. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, so you weren't just pulling this guy into our bedroom? Because that's what it looks like, Jessica. Her mouth opened and closed, her breathing turning erratic. Ashley, her so-called best friend, crossed her arms, staring Jessica down. Jessica, she said slowly, what the hell is this? The other two women, Megan and Rachel, just stood there, shocked, their faces a mixture of disgust and secondhand embarrassment. And then, like clockwork, Jessica went for the only move she had left. Jessica's expression changed in an instant. One moment, she was desperate and panicked. The next, she was angry. At me. I saw it happen. The exact moment she realized she couldn't deny the evidence, so she decided to attack the way I got it instead. She straightened up, throwing her shoulders back like she was the victim in all of this. You spy on me, she shrieked, pointing a shaking finger at me. In our house. Are you seriously recording me like some kind of creep? I actually laughed. A short, sharp laugh. Jessica, I said, shaking my head. You're standing in front of a video of yourself cheating in our own home, and this is what you're mad about? Her jaw clenched. That's not the point, James. This is so invasive. Who does this to someone they love? Ashley scoffed, stepping forward. Oh my God, Jessica. Are you serious right now? She snapped. This is your response? Not an apology? Not even an explanation? Just blaming James for proving what you were actually doing. Jessica turned to her, furious. Ashley, you don't understand. James has been so distant lately. He never makes time for me and I just needed some attention. Ashley's face twisted in disgust. Oh, so now it's his fault? Jessica's eyes widened like she hadn't expected her own friend to call her out. That's not what I meant, she whined, but Ashley cut her off. No, Jessica, that's exactly what you meant. Jessica's head snapped toward me again, and now the waterworks started. She clutched her chest, her eyes filling with crocodile tears, and took a step toward me. James, please, she whispered. I wasn't actually going to do anything. It was just flirting. It was harmless. I swear. I let out another laugh, shaking my head. Jessica, I said, gesturing to the TV screen, if that's just flirting, then I'd love to hear your definition of cheating. Her tears kept falling, but they weren't real. I had seen real regret before. And this was just panic. I was drunk, she blurted out, Another pathetic excuse. I wasn't thinking straight. You know I get stupid when I drink. I nodded slowly, pretending to consider it. I mused, tapping my chin. So you're saying if I hadn't walked in, you would have just, what? Stopped? Sent him home? Apologized to yourself in the mirror? Her silence was deafening, and her friends knew it. At this point, her affair partner, let's just call him Chad because he looked like one, finally decided to speak up. Man, I think I should go, Chad muttered, standing up, but I wasn't done with him yet. Oh no, buddy, I said, stepping between him and the door. You don't get to just run out of here like nothing happened. His face paled. Dude, I didn't even know she was married, he blurted out, lifting his hands defensively. Jessica spun around so fast, I thought she'd get whiplash. What? She screeched. You liar. Chad flinched. Jessica, you literally told me your husband was some boring workaholic who didn't pay attention to you, he snapped back. Jessica looked like she had been slapped. Because now, her lies were catching up to her. Ashley turned to Megan and Rachel, her expression pure disgust. She's been lying to all of us, she muttered. Megan nodded slowly, her arms crossed. This is actually insane, she whispered. Jessica realized she was losing control of the situation. And that's when she completely broke down. Jessica collapsed onto the couch, her head in her hands, sobbing hysterically. James, please, she cried. Please, I don't want to lose you. This was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I stared at her, at the mess of a woman sitting in front of me, shaking, crying, begging. And you know what I felt? Nothing. No anger. No sadness. No sympathy. Just complete and total indifference. Because she wasn't sorry she did it. She was sorry she got caught. I sighed, running a hand through my hair, then looked at Chad. You can leave now, I said. The guy practically sprinted out the door. Jessica let out a wail, turning to her friends. Ashley, please, she sobbed. You have to understand. Ashley held up a hand. Don't, she said, her voice cold. I don't want to hear it. Jessica choked on a sob. You're my best friend. Ashley shook her head. Not anymore. Jessica looked completely destroyed. But this was only the beginning. Jessica was still sobbing on the couch, her hands buried in her face, her entire body shaking. I just stood there, arms crossed, waiting, and, like clockwork, she lifted her head and looked right at me. James, please, she choked out, her voice trembling. Can we just talk alone? I raised an eyebrow. Alone? I repeated. Why? So you can lie some more? She flinched like I had slapped her. No, please, I need to explain. I let out a cold laugh. Explain what, Jessica? I said, gesturing to the TV screen, which was still frozen on the last damning image of her pulling Chad into our bedroom. I think you explained everything pretty well already. Her breathing hitched, her eyes darting around the room like a trapped animal. James, please, she tried again, softer this time. Not here. Please, let's talk in private. I cut her off. Oh, now you care about privacy? I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. You didn't seem to care when you were doing all this right here, in my house. So no, Jessica, we're keeping this public. Her face crumpled. And then, Ashley pulled out her phone. Jessica's head snapped toward her best friend, eyes widening as she saw the camera recording her. Her already broken expression turned to horror. Ashley, what are you doing? She gasped, her voice laced with panic. Ashley just shook her head. You think you're gonna play victim after what you just did? She snapped. Oh no, Jessica. You don't get to cry your way out of this. Jessica let out a frantic gasp, her hands reaching forward like she was going to grab the phone, but Ashley stepped back. Don't, she warned. Jessica whirled around to Megan and Rachel. You guys aren't gonna let her record this, right? She pleaded, voice shaky and desperate. Megan just laughed bitterly. You had no problem embarrassing James in his own house, she said. Why do you care now? Jessica's entire face crumbled. She turned back to me. James, she sobbed, her voice breaking completely now. Please, you have to stop them. I tilted my head. Why would I do that, Jessica? I said. You didn't care about my dignity. Why should I care about yours? The realization hit her all at once. This wasn't just her getting caught. This was her entire reputation going up in flames. And she knew it. Ashley didn't just record the aftermath. She posted it. And in real time, the comments started rolling in. Wait, what? Jessica cheated? Is this the same Jessica that always bragged about her perfect marriage? Yikes. She really thought she'd get away with it? Disgusting. Hope James kicks her out. Jessica's phone started buzzing like crazy. Calls, texts, notifications flooding in. She grabbed it off the table, her fingers fumbling as she unlocked it. And the second she saw what was happening, she let out a strangled cry. She looked at me, eyes wild. James, you have to make them stop, she begged. Please, this is getting out of control. I just stared at her. And then, without a word, I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out the divorce papers. Jessica froze. Her entire body locked up as she stared at the thick manila envelope in my hands. What is that? She whispered. I tossed it onto the coffee table. Your future, I said simply. Her hands were shaking as she slowly picked it up, her breath coming in short gasps as she flipped through the pages. When she reached the part where I had already moved our joint finances, canceled her credit cards, and removed her from our house deed, she let out a choked sob. James, she whimpered, her voice barely a whisper now. I just stared at her. You have until morning to pack your things, I said, my voice void of emotion. She stared at me in shock, her lips quivering. Morning, she croaked. That's what I said, I replied, crossing my arms. She shook her head rapidly, tears spilling down her face. James, please, I have nowhere to go, she cried, her voice shaking with panic. Not my problem, I said coolly. Her hands tightened around the papers, her breath coming in short, ragged gasps. But I can't. Jessica, I said, cutting her off, I don't care. Her knees buckled, and she collapsed onto the floor, sobbing harder than ever. Her friends? They just watched. Ashley shook her head. You did this to yourself, she muttered. Megan and Rachel nodded. Jessica had lost everything. And this time, no one was going to save her. I turned to walk out, but then I paused, glancing back at her one last time. She was a mess. Her hair was disheveled, her makeup smeared, her body curled up on the floor, crying like a child who just lost her favorite toy. I should have felt something, but I didn't. I just sighed. You should have been more careful with what you threw away, Jessica, I said. And with that, I walked out the door, leaving her to deal with the wreckage she created. The morning after her public humiliation, I was long gone by the time Jessica woke up. I had already packed my essentials and moved into a short-term rental, making sure she had no idea where I was staying. She, on the other hand, woke up alone, in a house that was no longer hers. I know this because she called me 37 times. Each one went straight to voicemail. And when she finally stopped trying to call, she started texting. Jessica, James, please, we need to talk. Jessica, I'm so sorry, I wasn't thinking. Please just give me one more chance. Jessica, where are you? Can we meet somewhere? Please, I'll do anything. I didn't respond. Instead, I sent her a single email. Jessica, since you seem so eager to talk, let me make this clear. I have removed you from the house deed. The home you once bragged about? The one you disrespected by inviting another man into? It's mine now. You have until the end of the day to collect your belongings. After that, anything left behind will be donated or trashed. All shared finances have been moved. Any bank account we once had together? Closed. Any credit card with my name attached? Canceled. The car you drive? Under my name. I'd recommend making other arrangements. You are officially alone. Your friends? They know what you did. Your family? They'll know soon enough. The life you once had? Gone. Enjoy your new reality. James. Now, here's where things get even worse for Jessica. Remember Chad, her lover? Turns out, he wasn't just some random guy. He was her coworker. And guess what? Their company had a very strict policy against workplace relationships, especially when one party was married and using company time for personal affairs. I didn't even have to lift a finger to make sure her job found out, because her own friends did it for me. Ashley, still furious over Jessica's betrayal, made sure that certain clips from the previous night's recording landed in the inbox of Jessica's boss. By noon, Jessica was officially unemployed. She tried calling me again, probably hoping I'd feel bad for her, maybe even help her out. Instead, I sent her another email. Jessica, I assume by now you've lost your job. In case you're wondering, no, I didn't do that to you. Your own friends did. The same ones you lied to, betrayed, and threw away for a man who ran at the first sign of trouble. You made your bed. Now you get to lie in it. James. By the end of the day, Jessica was homeless, jobless, and completely alone. I later found out through a mutual friend that she had turned to her family for support. And guess what? They disowned her. Apparently, Jessica's parents were furious when they found out what she had done. Her mother, who had always loved me, told her outright, "You humiliated yourself. You humiliated James. Don't expect us to clean up your mess." Her brother, who I had been good friends with for years, told her, "If you were struggling, why didn't you just talk to James? Why did you have to destroy everything?" And her father didn't say a single word, just shook his head and walked away. Jessica was officially cut off. No money, no support, nothing. That evening, I received one last message from Jessica. "I don't even recognize my life anymore. I lost everything in 24 hours. James, please, if there's anything left in your heart, just talk to me. Please." I stared at the message for a long time, and then I deleted it. No response, no closure, just silence. She didn't deserve anything else. She had made her choices, and now she had to live with them. As for me, I was doing better than ever. I had already secured a divorce attorney, ensuring that Jessica would get absolutely nothing from our split. I was back at the gym, reconnecting with friends, and even considering taking a long overdue vacation. Jessica, on the other hand, she was completely isolated. Her former friends wouldn't talk to her. Her family wanted nothing to do with her. She was jobless, struggling, and miserable. And me? I was finally free. I slept better at night. I felt lighter, happier, completely at peace. Because Jessica had spent months lying, sneaking around, and ruining everything we built together. And now, she had nothing left. Since the apologies weren't working, she tried something else, manipulation. She started bringing up old memories, reminding me of our best times together. Remember our trip to California? Remember how we watched the sunset together, and you said you'd always love me? I still have the watch you gave me on our first anniversary. I still wear it every day. I never stopped loving you, James. I didn't fall for it. She wasn't reaching out because she loved me. She was reaching out because she was alone, miserable, and terrified of the life she had created for herself. And I felt nothing. Then came the worst attempt yet. Jessica sent me a long, dramatic email claiming she had fallen ill. "James, I just wanted you to know. I haven't been feeling well. I've been to the doctor, and they're running tests. I don't know what's wrong, but I'm scared. I need you right now." I almost laughed. I knew exactly what she was doing. She thought that by playing the helpless, sick woman, I'd come running back, ready to protect her. Instead, I sent her a single response. "Hope you feel better. Take care." That was it. No sympathy, no concern, just complete indifference. And that broke her. Since Jessica realized she couldn't manipulate me privately, she decided to go public. She went online and posted a long, dramatic rant about how I had abandoned her, painting herself as the victim. She didn't mention what she did. She just talked about how I had thrown her away and destroyed her life overnight. She probably expected sympathy. Instead, she got absolutely destroyed. Because by now, everyone already knew the truth. Ashley, Megan, and Rachel had already exposed her. Videos of her crying, of her affair, of her own lies unfolding in real time were still floating around. People called her out immediately. Comment 1. Jessica, weren't you the one who cheated? Comment 2. Oh, So now you care about loyalty? Where was that energy before? Comment 3. You ruined your own life. Stop trying to blame James for it. The backlash was brutal. Within hours, she deleted the post. But the damage? It was already done. As if Jessica's life wasn't bad enough, she got hit with one final, devastating blow. Chad, the coworker she risked everything for, the one she betrayed me for, he ghosted her. Completely. No calls, no texts, no support. Because the truth was, he never cared about her. She was just a fling that had gone up in flames in the most public way possible. Now, she was jobless, homeless, abandoned by her family, and completely alone. And me? I was happier than ever. Jessica was finished. Her life, once filled with social gatherings, validation, and endless admiration, had crumbled into dust. She had no job, no home, no friends, no family, and most importantly, she had no control over me anymore. I was free. It didn't take long for me to move on. I focused on myself, getting back into shape, picking up new hobbies, reconnecting with old friends. I traveled. I laughed more. I even started dating again. At first, it felt strange, learning to trust someone new after everything Jessica had done. But unlike her, I never let bitterness consume me. I didn't carry her betrayal with me. I left it behind, exactly where it belonged. Meanwhile, Jessica? She was still stuck in the ruins of the life she destroyed. Months passed. Then, one day, I ran into an old coworker of hers at a coffee shop. We made small talk before he smirked and said, "You won't believe what I heard about Jessica." I just shrugged. Surprised me. Apparently, she had bounced between jobs, never holding one for long. Her past followed her everywhere. People recognized her from the viral videos, from the scandal that had unfolded so publicly. No company wanted someone with that kind of baggage. She was broke, still living on a friend's couch, and barely getting by. And Chad? He was long gone. She had been used, discarded, and forgotten, just like she had done to me. Months later, I got one final message from Jessica. It was long, rambling, pathetic. "Jessica, James, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I don't even know who I am anymore. I lost everything, and I know it's my fault. I miss you. I miss us. If there's even a small part of you that remembers the good times, please, just say something. Anything. I just want to know if you ever cared about me at all." I read it, and then I left her on read. No response. No closure. Because she didn't deserve it. I never heard from Jessica again after that. And honestly, that was the best ending I could have asked for. Not because I wanted revenge. Not because I needed to see her suffer. But because justice had served itself. She had thrown everything away for a moment of selfishness. And now, she had nothing. While I had everything ahead of me. And that was the sweetest justice of all. The end. Share your thoughts in the comments. What was your favorite moment of James's revenge? Which part of Jessica's downfall was the most satisfying? If you like this story, subscribe to the channel and give us a like.